Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important, just the question asker. My name is Raheem out of Atlanta, Georgia, but this is my brother from another mother, but we got the same father. This, my big brother, this, Mr. Hicks. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, right here, boy. I want some of your coffee in the morning. I
Yes,
want some of that.
yes, sir. Boy, I tell you, look, it's a special brew. It's a special brew. I'm gonna tell you, brother, it's a special. Hold on,
So,
we got somebody else on the phone line. Let me see who we got on the phone lines. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, Sugarfoot.
And my baby girl right there, y'all. Good morning, baby girl. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I am tired. How are
Tired.
y'all?
What time is it?
It is. I'm local.
Oh,
I'm in Virginia now. I'm in the airport.
oh, okay. Cool beans, cool beans. You on your way home, huh?
I'm on the way to Florida. Long story.
Oh, okay. Oh, long story. Uh-oh. We had to talk about that off air. We had to talk about that off air. But how was everything?
Everything's fine. If I go mute, because I'm at TSA,
Oh, okay.
just so you know
Cool.
that.
Good. I want to ask y'all a question this morning. And Mr. Hicks, you know how I do things, man. Ladies are always first. Ladies are always first. So I'm gonna ask you this question. Mary Perry, how you got a friend?
I'm listening to you.
You got a
Uh-huh.
friend, and you find out that this friend complains about everything. Nothing ain't ever right. It's always this, it's always that, it's always that. How do you deal with the complainer?
I don't.
Mm,
I don't deal with it because
mm.
I don't have to. I don't have to deal with it. We're grown. If you complain about everything, then if your life is that miserable and you need to go see God, you don't need to go.
Wow. Wow. Mr. Hicks, Mr. Hicks, in your life of living, I know you've come into excuse me, come into in contact with a few people that complain and complain all the time. Mr. Hicks, how do you deal with the complainer?
mm, uh, well, I mean, I guess it's how I deal with them now, and how it's like it's you. I dealt with them different ways in my growing up and learning. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when I encounter complaining, I look at myself. I figure there's something inside of me on some level I'm complaining, not accepting,
Mm-hmm.
that allowed this come. I don't believe things just happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or think people just come to you. There's some kind of laws in effect of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So I check myself out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And once you do that, and watch this, excuse me, and once you do that, Mr. Hicks, and you check yourself out, and you look into yourself, and you say, you know what, it's that person. They just
Mm,
they just complain about every, and then you watch the way that you and that person interact, and then you watch the way they interact with other people, and they're always complaining, regardless of who it is or what it is. They just complain. They're gonna find
mm.
something wrong. Something's not gonna be right. What do you do at that point? I'm asking. Look,
Oh,
I'm asking for a friend.
yeah, well, uh, well, hey, truth hurts. I mean, the thing about me, if you're going to be around me, you're going to have to handle the
Yeah.
truth. I mean, my truth. I mean, I'm very critical myself, and I keep everybody around me on their toes.
Mm-hmm.
That means I pretty much don't have many people around me. A lot of people shot me, especially family members and people that know me closely. How's this? Shoot, I mean, grow up, man
Yeah.
up. I don't want to hear
Yeah.
that. We all got a cross. We all got a burden.
Mm-hmm.
Stop being a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Change. Uh, and I sort of hated, not like that about myself a lot of times. That I wasn't nice.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
I think that's the things that got me pulled from prison, because I had the ability to deal with juveniles and deal with them honestly and straight up,
Mhm.
truth,
Mhm.
informed, accepted, find out who's going to accept it, going to be about some change, and who want to stay in this prison.
Mhm.
Because if you want to stay in the prison, you're going to stay here. But those who want to change, come on with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Let's take a walk.
But you got to be able to handle. You got to be able to handle the truth about yourself, to look at your life and see the truth. And I do that by exposing the truth of my life,
Mhm. Mhm.
how I thought, what I did that brought me into prison, and how I thought and how I changed that put me in a position. Now I'm trying to help get you out of prison.
Mhm. That's good. That's good. Badger, good morning, Badger. How you doing this morning? Badger?
Good morning, Badger.
Sorry, you called. Good morning.
Good morning.
You called my name, and all of a sudden I had to sneeze. I was like, that was unfortunate.
Look, basically, Badger saying he's allergic to us. He's allergic to us.
Yeah.
He's allergic to us. But
Freudian slip.
exactly,
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But Badger, how do you deal with, and we asked the question, how do you deal with a person that complains all the time, always finds something wrong? It's always complaining, always across the board, just constantly complaining. How do you deal with a complainer?
To be quite honest, I'm patient at first. And then I get to a point of you've been helped by a lot of different people, and all you've done is sat there and did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, if you want to complain, go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I've come across those people,
Yeah, they're there. They're out there.
and you can give them every single piece of help or advice or direction, phone numbers, contacts, like counselors or whatever, just everything you could possibly think of. And it's almost like they just look at it and go, no, I want you to do it for me.
Mm.
And at that point, I just get to where I go, nope, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you gotta let people fall flat on their face.
Wow.
And that's just, you can't, even if it's somebody that's close, you gotta let them fall,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't want to.
Wow.
But and it's unfortunate,
Mm-hmm.
but if they're gonna sit there and, let's say uh, someone came up to you, right, and went, hey, I need help. And you're like, okay, what with? And I need help to get counseling. And you end up helping this person out by helping pay for about $2,000 worth of therapy sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quite a few sessions, right?
Yeah.
Especially if they're like, so that's at least, if they're $100 a pop, that's about 20 sessions. And then they come to you and go, yeah, it's not teaching me anything.
Mm.
And then you end up seeing the therapist later and going, so what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And they just said they just wouldn't put in no effort.
Wow.
So
Wow.
every time they come in, they were just wasting time.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
So there's a lot to it.
There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot to
But
it.
to me, after a certain amount of time, you kind of just gotta, if you've gave them as much as possible, sometimes what you need to do is just step back.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Rico. Rico, good. Let me see. No. Tucson. Rico, no, that's Tucson. Tucson, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Doing all right.
Yes, hey, doing
Doing
good.
okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Got
sir.
my tears on today.
Huh?
Got my tears on today, I guess.
Your tears on.
Yeah, we ain't complaining. I'm gonna complain.
Lord, Lord.
Screw that out.
I'm asking the question. I guess that's my answer right there. But how do you deal with a complainer, a person that's complaining constantly, just complaining all the time? Tucson, every time is regardless of what the situation is, good, bad, or ugly, or whatever, they gonna find something wrong with it. They just gonna complain. How do you deal with a complainer?
The U.S. is the biggest importer in the world of wild animals.
Okay, somebody got something going on. Wild animal with pets.
Yeah.
Tucson,
Yeah.
how do you deal with the complainer?
You know, I mean, you got to be careful about it because there's a difference in a person crying out and then there's another person that just picks something wrong out of every situation. I ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people that no matter what the circumstances is, they got something negative to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're trying to do something. And here they come with not the solution, but always the problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you try to say, well, here's the resolve, and they come up with something else.
Yep.
Well, you gotta let them just do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
We know what your place is. You always have something negative to say. You come in. I know you come in. So what I'm already established is you're the type of person that I ignore every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
you can't entertain complainers.
Mm-hmm.
Because all they want to do is let their voice be known.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be a part of any solution. So if you spend time entertaining or listening to them, all they do is stop your progress.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So I ignore. They say, well, they all don't pay no attention to that. We're trying to do something. And you wasting time having a conversation with somebody that's just talking.
Mm-hmm.
They're just talking. And here you are. I'm telling you, come on. But no, you got to stop and listen to the voice of a complainer. Come on now.
Wasting everybody's
Now,
time.
both of y'all. Yeah. Now, you would be further off or further along if you just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it go. Because they're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what that's their agenda.
Mm-hmm.
To slow progress.
Wow.
So you let them do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just the way they operate.
That's just the way they're gonna do it.
Just keep moving.
Exactly.
I don't even worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I do.
That's good. That's good. Joseph, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, man. I had my animal show on. I thought I had it on mute. I had my phone on mute, man. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good, man. Doing good. Asking the question, Joseph, you're in a situation, man, and you notice there's somebody that hang around you a lot. Friend, associate, whatever they are. But you just realize, man, they're just a complainer. They complain and complain and complain about every situation, always complaining. Joseph, how do you deal with a complainer?
Well, I've first of all, I put some distance between us because, I don't see the world like that. I find something good about the world, and I'll ask them, are you working on some of them issues you're dealing with? Because, there's a lot of good things too to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
You got to complain about everything. There's a lot of good things to celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you'll stress yourself out and worry yourself sick if you complain about everything.
Exactly.
When I get up in the morning, man, I'm already rich.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm above ground.
Yes, sir. Come on.
I'm able to see and I'm able to feel. I'm able to enjoy God's goodness in earth. I see things that some people take for granted. So I wake up with joy, man.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
But
That's
I like
good.
to sit at my piano
Mm-hmm.
and be like an artist at a canvas with some paint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Creating a
create
masterpiece.
something beautiful.
Creating a
Yes,
masterpiece.
sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So I try not to let nobody draw me into all of their complaints, man. If that's all they're doing is complaining, I put some distance between us.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Brother Pete.
Good morning, DKM Radio. Why do we have to have the morning glow? Why we gotta have a dude with a Muslim name, Raheem? Why we gotta have some Haiti revolutionary named Toussaint? Why we gotta have some dude named Joseph? Because they think he bona fide, because his name is in the Bible. Why? Good morning, DKM Radio.
Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
That just ain't sound right at all. That just ain't sound right at all.
Exactly.
How you gonna get up in the morning and you complain?
Exactly. They ain't even started yet. They ain't even started yet.
What you complaining about?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing about the issues, like my brother said, that you complaining about?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really even an issue? Is it just a thought in your mind? Is it an emotion? Is it a feeling? Is it a ill-fated perspective? In all things, give thanks. How about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In all things, be grateful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you spiritual or not. If you had an activity of your mind and limbs, the soundness of your mind, what you complaining about?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you get the same opportunity as everybody else in the day to do what you need to do, to address what needs to be addressed, to correct the wrong, to empower, to enlighten, to better. What you complaining about?
Exactly.
Put that energy into addressing, into perfecting oneself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, what is it? Is it a spiritual thing? Are you possessed by something? Is your pH or your balance off? You need to take a vitamin or something? What's wrong with you? You drink some water? What's going on? You need to take what's wrong with you? What you complaining about?
Or are you just cray?
Yeah, who gonna listen to your complaining? Mm-hmm. Your mama not even gonna entertain that nonsense. Who gonna listen to it?
Mm-hmm. And see,
so you a cold pity of mess, sitting there all by yourself.
Exactly. And see what people, what sometimes I don't think they recognize or understand. Mute your phone there, Brother Pete. Excuse me. Mute your phone there, Brother Pete. Good deal. And Mary, what I don't think they understand a lot of time is that energy. I just don't like that energy around me. It's an energy. It's a negative energy. When somebody's always complaining, always got negative say. They say the power is in the tongue, and you speak reality. And if a person is always speaking negative, talking negativity, that's a negative energy. So, Mary, do you want that energy around you?
I sure do not. That's why I don't even deal with it. I don't even entertain it. If you said all the time, I try to help you and try to help you, and you still saying it, you have to go pray about it.
Exactly. Mr. Hicks, talk to me, man. And I know you big on energy too. You know, you look at the energy in things and around things, and that comes off of things. So if a person is complaining, Mr. Hicks, that's a negative energy. You don't want that energy around you, I'm sure.
Well, it's almost like it's almost negative. It's a balance, negative energy balance with the positive of any situation. It's that thing is always going on, and I guess it's in the role as a teacher or a therapist, when a person is complaining, it's almost trying to define what is their complaining. Is the complaining asking questions? Is it like a question? Because some people consider asking questions being complaining. Like, don't ask no questions. Just be quiet. Go along with everything. Stop being so difficult. Why you gotta know? Why you gotta know this and know that? And then there's other folks that's pointing out what they see as a flaw or errors.
Mm-hmm.
In organization, you need all those personalities. You need you need a person. You need to. They're like canary in those things that let you know something is going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back in the day in the nation, we had investigators. You had people that went out and researched and got information. Other complainers of because the theory was dissatisfaction brings about a change,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's positive or negative. But it's being dissatisfied, and being dissatisfied is part of growing, because growing in a negative sense,
Mm-hmm.
and that's complaining when it's like a dissatisfaction because things are not where you want them to be. Dissatisfied because you want things to be better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it brings about a negative change because that dichotomy. It's almost like the only way to cheat, like a cheat sheet, is to be appreciative of what you have right now,
Mm-hmm.
because that's your only position of power, and they're trying to point a person that's complaining to that. You know, a lot of times when you meet people in these things, you say things, and sometimes you want an instant response. You want to say something to somebody and them to change automatically, but it don't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as being traveling and being a now elder, trying to drop jewels on folks, right? You drop it and you know, maybe they might not get it right now.
Yeah.
They might get it. They might think about, you know, some if they've asked a question, if they want the answers from the creator, situation going to bring it in the answer, then you get it. You get it
Mm-hmm.
later down the line. I know a lot of things with my grandkids, and I say, I know this here. I say a lot of things I'm saying to them, they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
They're not going to get it to when they're sitting around reminiscing about pop. And they talk, then they're going to start talking, then they're going to start comparing some notes to the things I've said. Because life is moving so fast, it's hard to listen to everybody talking to you, all the talking heads. You know, this life's not easy.
How do you know? And old folks told me a long time ago. Sometime in life, you gotta eat the meat and spit out the bone.
Mm.
Eat the meat and spit out the bone. You know, you're not gonna try to eat the bone. Some people do, but yeah, it's a meat. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. And what is good for you. What's good for you, that's what you need to consume. What is good for you? What is good for you, your situation and the position that you're in? What is best for you? And the meat, discarded. You don't need that. That's carrying extra weight, if you will.
Yeah.
Trying to carry that bone, man. Throw the bone away. Throw the bone to the dog. Dog want the bone.
I heard that.
Throw that away. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? Tucson, you there?
Some people say why. Like Pete came on and say why. Ask why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How many answers you get for continuing to ask why?
Mm.
You ever heard a kid try to explain to a curious kid, and you explain one thing to them, and they ask, well, why?
Mm-hmm.
Then you explain that, and they say, well, why that, Daddy? Well, why is this, Daddy? We act like kids sometimes. And complainers, they don't never grow up.
Yeah, yeah. Boy, you'll wear yourself. You'll wear yourself out trying to answer them whys, boy. You'll wear yourself out. Boy. You be God
you just put a muzzle over your mouth and just keep it moving.
You be scratching your own head. So you be scratching your own head.
I didn't know. I'd be like, I didn't know I was that confused.
Exactly. that Joker got me. That Joker got me.
Now you got me wondering about my own answer.
Tucson, you sit there, you look at yourself, you answer all them whys. After 5 or 6 of them, you know, it get a little complicated. And you look at the kid, you be like, why am I even answering these questions? You're asking yourself, why am I even answering your questions?
Why did I even say good morning to you?
Exactly. But yeah, complaining is something else, man. It's a negative energy. It's a very negative energy, man. You can talk to you tell somebody, I want to go to the beach, and they complain about the beach. I like the beach because I like the water. I like to go, but I don't like that water. That water too wet.
There's sand in between my toes.
Yeah, exactly. All kind of foolishness, man. Exactly. But yeah, that's what it is. Go ahead, brother. What's on your heart? Toussaint.
Yeah, man, I'm just so entertained. I just don't have time for it. I do that at work, man.
Exactly.
And you know, in the field that I work, you have to have a solution because all you got is problems.
Mm-hmm.
The
Exactly.
work environment is a problem within itself. That's why
Mm-hmm.
you're there.
Mm-hmm.
But why we got to do this? Oh Lord, here we go with him
Mm-hmm.
again.
I'll be like, you.
Spend 15 minutes worrying about a 5-minute problem,
Mm-hmm.
talking about it. If you just go start, try to handle it. By the time they used to talk, Tucson, you always sitting down. I say I do more work in this chair than you do all day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because
Wow.
while you ducking and diving,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And after I finish with what I'm doing, I'm gonna go sit down.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to go way on the other side, hide. They know you're hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come back and then you look at it and you wonder why you got to do it. Then you go back and hide some more.
Mm-hmm. Professional
Then you
hiding.
complain about it for 15 more minutes when you just could start. Try to analyze it, put your hand to it. Before you know it, it'll be done. And you can move to the next thing.
Exactly.
Now, you're looking at it like a mule looking at a new gate.
Mm-hmm. Wow. A mule looking at a new gate, boy. Think Tucson ain't gonna draw a picture for you. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Still the same thing, huh?
Yeah. Badger, you listening to us, ain't
Yeah. I just. Do you have a direction you're wanting us to go?
you? No, no. Everybody have their own direction. I'm asking how do you? I can't tell you how you deal with a complaint of Badger. I don't know how you deal with it. You got to tell me how you deal with it.
I mean, if they're going to the extent, like, you can tell the ones that are just complainers versus the ones that are actually working on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if it's just someone that's just they're choosing to not be happy about anything, like they're just actively going out of their way to choose that, I'd have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't, why put all that energy into it?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say my positive things or whatnot and just go about my day. It's not my flavor.
Exactly.
Now, I'll sit down and listen, and if you need resources or whatever, I'll help. But if that's all you're going to do, not my thing.
Good deal. Good deal. Anybody else have anything they want to say on this topic before we move to the next one?
Yeah, you know, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was thinking, man. I knew this young lady that complained, but what I realized she was really doing was trying to weave a person into her emotional thing.
Mm-hmm.
Using your feelings to kind of wrap you around her situation, and that's sad, but I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I had to eventually, when I really caught on, I had to say, hey, look, nah, it ain't that kind of party.
Yeah, exactly.
I help you stand on your own 2 feet, but I'm not gonna let you maneuver me and bring me in that web. Spin your web all in, and now I'm all in your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Exactly. But
No.
but watch this. Now, if she's 24, 25, 37, a brick
Well,
house.
now now you got that. Now back when I was 20 and mid 20s, now That might get you somewhere for a little while anyway.
They say, "Oh, what a winning hand! She's a brick."
Make an old man wish for younger days.
Exactly. Come on now. Yeah, so look at you might listen. Look, you might find yourself listening just a little bit longer. Yeah, you complaining, baby. But look at you,
right?
look at you, girl.
Well, what do you want?
Girl, what? How can I make it better, girl?
Right.
Hey, I think Tucson. You was about to say something.
No, the other side of that record is going around in circles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
Exactly. Hey,
Flying high like a bird in the sky.
exactly.
Everybody plays a fool. Sometimes.
Exactly. Look here. Mary Hippie, she's Harry's lady. Panhandles pennies just to feed Harry's baby. Look here. She'll tell you a story so incredible, man, and make you want to take the food home and put it on the table. God almighty, boy. Mary will tell you a story, boy. Mary tell you a story.
You sound sort of good there with that Bobby Womack thing.
Come on now. Hey, that's my dude there, man. Oh, Bobby Womack.
My man.
Yes, sir.
You think you're lonely now?
Hey, there you go. But I'm telling you, old Mary Hippie boy, she'll tell you. We talking about complaining. Mary Hippie will tell you a story so incredible, man, to make you want to take the food home for her and put it on the table. Now she telling you a story, brother. She putting some on you.
Hey, but the other part of the song says, "Sorry, Harry, I think I'm gonna have to put you down. You got too many problems."
Yes, sir. Let me see who we got. Ryan, good morning, Ryan. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, everybody. How we doing?
Hey, doing good. Ryan, we asked you a question this morning, brother. I want to hear your heart on this, man. How do you deal? You got a friend, associate, or somebody that you hang out with, and you notice that they're always complaining. It's all they're complaining about everything that happened. They're complaining about it in some kind of way. How do you deal with a complainer?
How do you deal with a complainer? That's a good one. I just experienced this about 5 minutes ago.
Wow.
I delegated some tasks to some team members, and the initial response was, "What about break time? Like, you've been here 2 hours.
Yeah.
Go to work."
Exactly.
I don't know. I really don't deal with complainers, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You can ask my wife. Like, if I complain, there's a legitimate complaint behind it, and it's few and far between. I don't like to complain. To me, complaining is whining.
Yeah.
It's very irritable, and it makes people irritable, and it makes for a bad situation, and can take something that's already bad and make it worse. So I just don't deal with it. I tend to let them whine and walk away. Because the role that I'm in, I can't really dig into somebody, and I have to let them say their piece, but I don't have to say nothing back.
Wow. Just okay. You finished. Now go on and do what I asked you to. Go ahead.
Exactly. Yep. You done yet? All right.
I'm glad you finished. I'm glad you was able to get it off your chest. Now we got this task. I need you to go take care of that. We here to work. We're not here to complain. But listen, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play my clip again. I gotta play my clip because we're trying to get everybody to come out and have a great time, man. On the Friday, March the 25th. I think it's Friday, March 24th, 25th, whatever that Friday is. But we're having a flashback party, 70s, 80s, and 90s music. Now, y'all like that kind of music. If y'all remember those days, y'all need to come on out and have a great time. I'm gonna play the clip. We're gonna come back. We're gonna change the topic, and we're gonna go to something totally different. So listen to the clip. If you have an opportunity, if you're in or around the Atlanta, Georgia area, you definitely want to do yourself a favor and come out and have a great time with us. Here it is.
70s, 80s, and 90s flashback jam. Do you know how to party? Do you still have your boogie shoes? Sine Event Hall, 2308 Henry Cloud Boulevard, Snellville, Georgia. Get your tickets today.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I listen to that commercial and I get to bounce and listening to the commercial. So you know what the party itself is gonna be like. I listen to that commercial, and before you know it, I'm over here bouncing, man. I'm like, man, look here, I'm ready to get my little boogie. Talking about your boogie shoes. I'm ready to put them on right now and go and do a little something. That's what I'm ready to do. Tucson. Oh, I think we might have lost Tucson. Hopefully we'll get him back in a minute or two. Brother Pete.
Yes, sir.
Question for you. We're living in a society, we're living in a world today where it's very unfortunate, but a lot of our elderly, they have to decide on certain necessities of life because financially they can't afford it. And when I say necessity of life, I'm talking about food, shelter, medication. Do this society that we live in today's time, do we respect our elders in the way in which we should?
That may depend on where you are, geographically located, and your status and financial position in this society. As a whole, no, I don't think we do. I don't think we give honor to the elders, give the appreciation that they have earned, acquiring their years of experience and knowledge and wisdom, the value that they actually can bring forth to the greater society by us appreciating them and allowing them to interact in a fuller position. So all of us, you know, wisdom and experience are some things. You can't have youth and life experience at the same time. So one way to acquire some of that knowledge is to learn, sit at the feet of your elders and listen. They can tell you how to navigate, how to interpret, how to receive, how to grasp, you know, inspiration from nothing and determine within yourself to overcome and achieve the objectives before you. But a lot of that comes from wisdom and experience. And that's invaluable. You can't put a value on it. You put a young child with an older elder person, let them spend some quality time together, both, you know, all things being in the proper position. That child is almost destined to be something. This is invaluable what comes with that. So no, I don't think that we give the full value that we should. Books say honor thy father and mother, and in that science spirit, how should we honor our elders? We should give great respect, appreciation, and value to their existence, to their potential to, like I say, benefit this greater society. When you've lived from your youth to older years, and you're fully developed, your perspectives change, your perception change. You had a lot of folk back in the Bull Connor, Jim Crow, color only years in this country, and as the individuals got older, their perspectives changed. So with living with years, you know, there's a great application that can take place that can turn around and be a seed of blossoming potential blessings for the greater good.
Absolutely. Mr. Hicks, what do you say to that, man? Do we respect and honor our elderly in this day and time as we should?
I think about me growing up and the elders above me, and how even though the advice and counsel that I got from them, I never respected it in a large sense. And so I think in the same sense, but there were always those elders that did get my respect. You know, I was thinking about a thing of it earlier. I was a child and always asked questions, and that can be frustrating to people that don't know the answers.
Exactly.
You know. But when I found those elders, and it's like now, if I don't know, a lot of young folks now off the bat, they won't off the rip, there's no respect given to me, gray hairs. But I think after we have a few conversations, I can watch and I watch shift how sort of come in and respect me as the individual, but they don't respect the elders of my generation. There's even in general culture, they say that the baby boomers is what caused all the problem we're having today with Social Security and all those things. It's that the baby boomers, we did it. And so it'll in the future there'll be some future generation blaming this generation. So it's that complaining thing when you look at it like that. But I think that overall in general, I think society has grown to the point where you may not like the senior citizens. The senior citizen, I wouldn't visit someone in senior citizens in Georgia there, and God, it's a nice place, nice elevated, nice clean, not in the well kept. Even they got thing if senior citizens you can take college course without paying it in Georgia. I said, God, I better move back to Georgia, but I think it depends on how you look at it. Overall, as a culture, we don't take care of our elders that much, but we ship them off to other people that do that pretty good job at it.
Yeah. And see the thing about it too, I don't think that our elderly should be placed in a situation where they have to decide, man, whether they can pay keep a roof over their head, put food on the table, or get medication, but certainly can't do all three. They have to pick and choose between those. I think that's a little much, Mr. Hicks. What do you say?
I'm sorry. Say it again. I was just reading Leonard's response. So I'm trying to get. Okay.
I don't think that our elderly and the way it is today, you got some of our elderly out here, man. They have to decide amongst these three whether keep a roof over their head, put food on the table, or get their medication. But they're certainly not in a situation or a position where they could do all three comfortably. Is that fair?
Well, how does it? I believe this. I believe that in spite of any of us in our situations, whatever it is different with all of us, right? But I believe we are extensions and children of the Creator, and that we have at our access solution to our problems. You know, without talking very religious and spiritually, I think that as you live longer in life, you should at some point come to recognize that there's some other things going on that you can't figure out. That there's a mystery to this thing, and when you think you got to figure it out, one day you look around again, you don't have it figured out. You can be so sure of yourself about things, and then you look again, and then you respecting that mystery of thing, and I guess accepting people, accepting things. I guess. When you don't see that in elders, you don't see the wisdom, because the wisdom is the execution of power and experience. When you talk to the reason why elder's word is sort of valuable, because he's not talking about what he believes in theories, especially if he's being honest about his life. He's talking about what he know. I know this because I experienced this here. I used to treat my mother that way. I was that way with my brother when he's alive, and now so they're talking about emotional things. When they're talking that way, you gain a lot from that. But most elders, I say that they're not too deserving of respect from young folks. They don't have the patience with them. They don't have if they don't know the answer to the question, they don't answer. They tell them shut up, go out here.
Stop asking so many questions. Actually, on to read a book.
Yeah, read a book.
Leonard, what do you say to that, Leonard? And good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow family.
What do you say to that, man? The elderly, do they get the just that they rightfully deserve? And to be in a situation where they have to pick or to choose shelter, food, or their medication, but certainly cannot have all three because they can't afford it. Are we warped as a society?
No, we're not warped as a society, but you have to realize just because you get old, you're still a human being. You're still a person. You weren't always old.
Yeah.
You may be in a situation now because of mistakes you made in the past. So, while I respect my elders, I remember when all elders were grand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they had proved that they had went the right way because they were satisfied towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's one thing. See, an elder is not just a person that's old or
Oh,
in age.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
You used to could go to elders for the right way
Mm-hmm.
because they knew, because they had traveled so much further than you. So they had wisdom to give to you.
Mm-hmm.
I always will listen to an elder because their eyes have seen things that I have not seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's one thing to value elders, and there's another thing for elders to have value.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Just getting old is just getting old. You've been glad you be here, glad you made it. But
Mm-hmm.
all elders are not grand and they are not wise.
Mm. Hence the wise old fool.
Exactly. There could be some, but one thing about an elder will try to guide you in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can't just get old. You could be an old rotten individual like you've been your entire life,
Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing changed.
and no one should listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
You probably gonna die and go to hell. Why would I listen to you?
Wow.
Just because you got some gray on your face, guess what? Look how long I don't had some gray on my
Mm-hmm.
face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Remember when gray used to mean you was old?
Yeah. Ain't the same
Not
no
no
more.
more.
Not the same no more.
I'm
Absolutely.
bald. I've been bald for a minute. Some hair still grow in a few places, but my eyes don't got weak.
He said
So
hair still grow in a few places,
we
not
throw
all
the
over like you used
elders
to.
thing out as if it's automatically positive and wise.
Mm-hmm.
There are some old people that die in a world of regret and they
Wow.
struggle with it. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
have seen my elders sit up and say, I'm ready, and lay
Mm-hmm.
their life down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
That's
the
good.
difference.
Good deal. Good deal. Go to Badger and Enrico. We're coming to you, brother. Badger, what's on your heart?
Man, that was wow.
Come on, Badger.
I mean, that's an elder.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that have learned, like the ones that have gained, that turn knowledge into wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, a lot of people don't listen to them no more. I see it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there's a lot of indoctrination to not listen to them. It seems most people are more driven by greed or upsetness or anger because they're mad at because of their view of where America's at right now. So a lot of the elders, and I'm not talking about these uptight old junkies, I'm talking about the ones that have learned, like Mr. Hicks, you in some instances.
He said me in some instances.
Leonard, Donald, Cassandra, Willa, you know, y'all've learned so much, and y'all've learned how to apply it. So it's not just speaking; it's walking it.
Mm-hmm.
That's an elder. That's somebody that you should be listening to, not somebody out there that's wanting to go, "Hey, hand me $200 and I'll give you some advice."
Wow.
Come
Wow.
on now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see them down the road later, and they're, getting in all kinds of stuff. You're sitting there watching them lie, cheat, manipulate, and everything under the sun. when 5 minutes ago they told you that's not what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do as I say, not how's it go?
Do as I say, not what I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't deal well with those kinds of people. If you're gonna speak it, you gotta walk it for me. That's just my thing.
Good deal. Good deal. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. I'm just happy to see another beautiful new day, man. A cold one is that.
Yes, sir. Good to have you, man. Good to have you. What do you say about this? We're talking about the elderly, man, and do they get the respect that they so rightfully deserve, or do they deserve respect at all? Because of the fact that they're old, do they deserve respect because they're old? But also another situation is this: having to deal them having to deal with what they're gonna select: shelter, food on the table, or their medication. When they certainly cannot have, they don't have the finances. They don't have the financial stability to sustain each one of those. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Or where are we?
Of course, that's a bad thing. If you got to make that choice, that's for anybody. They got to make that choice when it comes down to survival, you know.
Mhm.
But I think this is a situation, pretty much, or a question that might be unique to our country, because in Canada, they take care of the elderly.
Come on. Yep.
I mean, you could retire, if I'm not mistaken. I think you could retire before the age of 50.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they got housing, man. I mean, it's like pretty much once you get a certain age in Canada, you ain't got to worry about what you see in America, homelessness. You ain't got to worry about 80-year-old people working the drive-through at McDonald's at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to worry about all of this despair with our elderly.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say I disagree with everything I heard before me, but I don't look at elderly as I'm gonna say a measure of respect. I look at that more as a physical aspect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be old and slow.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I look at elderly as somebody that's driving 25 on the highway when the speed limit is 60 and they shouldn't be driving.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Somebody that's frail and can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
You know, when younger people are trying to take advantage of them, they might not be the wisest person, but they're still old and frail.
Mm-hmm.
So just because they're not wise, we're not going to consider them elderly.
Mm-hmm.
Are we not supposed to respect them because of the fact that they're old in age and they can't defend themselves or fend for themselves? Mm-hmm. When they go to these old folks' homes or go to these living facilities and they're being molested and beaten, are we supposed to say, well, you know what? They weren't accomplished when they were young, and if they were better parents and they were educated, they wouldn't have been in this situation. They knew they had to survive. That's their fault that they're getting taken advantage of by somebody young and evil. That's still an elderly person. I never seen two different distinctions of an elderly person, and I feel like an elderly person is an elder.
Mm-hmm.
They might not be the wisest. They might not be the nicest. Might not be the best example. I know a woman that sold dope till she died. She was in her 80s.
Good Lord.
Miss Miller. And not only did she sell dope, but she passed it down to her children and her grandchildren. It was like a legacy. Everybody knew Miss Miller.
Mm-hmm.
But they loved Miss Miller because she had money and she do these Easter egg hunts every year and put money in the little plastic eggs, and that made people respect her.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Ain't that something? Even though she was known for getting her house busted and selling dope, it was almost legendary to see such an old hustler be so defiant and rebellious against authority and say, I'm going to slang this crack, and any new drug they come out with, I want to have my hands in it. And she did that till she died. Wow. She had sons and grandsons, and everybody went to jail getting busted in her yard, trapping. But they respected her. Oh, man, they put her on a pedestal. You know why? Sometimes we recognize people and respect them because they have money, not because of the fact that they were good in character. So we might consider Don King an elder. Oh, he knows something. You can learn something from Don King. He got that money. He made it somewhere. So I take that accomplishment and that wisdom thing and I throw it to the side and I put it more on a physical aspect, all the way around the board. And when you put it on a physical aspect, then you can be more righteous in how you protect the elderly as they get older the proper way, like Canada and France and some of these other countries. Many people really do worship and take care of their elderly the right way. The United States doesn't. You know, this is probably, I haven't been to other countries, but I can pretty much guarantee you that you will never see more homeless elderly people on the street than you will in the United States.
Wow. Let me go to let me go to actually someone that has been pretty much all around the world, and that's Captain. Captain, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Glo. Good morning to my Morning Glo family. You right?
Good morning to you as well. I know that you've traveled, pretty much been all over the world. The way that we treat our elderly here in America, is it off course with other places?
Man, I like what if you was listening to what Brother Rico was saying, and I loved what he said. There's two words that you're using that is different: elder and elderly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rico was talking about elderly.
Elderly, yes.
Elderly people are very vulnerable in their age. When you see an older person and they're struggling like we're talking about, just to be able to survive, rather they have to buy medicine, eat, or shelter.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some commercials where some elderly people are doing so bad that they're eating cat food, dog food.
Wow. Yeah.
To survive.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about the elderly, we have a responsibility as a society to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
America, the worst country when it comes to the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
In Africa, they are revered.
Yeah.
They are protected. The elderly are seen in Africa as elders. Now, when you use the word elders, you're talking about people of high rank. You're talking about those that become the chiefs of the tribes. You're talking about those who become the council that begin to influence their culture and environment. The elders are those that are respected as the head of the home, respected as the head of the society and the community. So the elderly are the vulnerable of the elders. But when you become an elder, like Brother Dr. Leonard was saying, you know, there are those who become wise in their counseling. So you sit down with your elders. Now the question is, Brother Raheem, what age do you become that you are called elderly?
Mm-hmm.
What age do you become when you're called an elder? I'm 69 years old. We're talking as if we're not old.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking, I'm an elder now. Now, I'm not elderly. I'm not vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I'm an elder, one of the chief. One who deserves to be respected for my experience of life, that I can pass on the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding of my struggle, that the young people can sit down with me now as an elder. And they don't call us elders. They call us old school, OGs.
Yeah, exactly.
They replace the word elder to OG. Hey, what's up, OG? Well, that's elder.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can sit down and give advice. But what do we do with our elderly? We put them in homes. We put them in old folks' homes.
Yeah.
We shut them out of the years of what they have given to society, and they have contributed to the onward advancement of society. And look what we do with them. We don't want grandma in the house no more. I like what Leonard said, the word grand. Thank you. I never looked at it. Why did we get the word granddad, grandmama? Grand.
Mm-hmm.
Grand means great.
Yes.
What have we done with our great elderly? So we put them in the home folks' homes. So we lose. But black people used to take the elderly, the grandma, and put her up in the room. We never put grandma in no old folks' home. Because we seen her as elderly, but we didn't see her as elderly. Guess how we seen grandma? We seen grandma as an elder.
Yeah.
She was a regulator in the fact. She brought balance in the fact. So we took away the balance of the home. And look what we did. We put them, as Brother Rico said, we put them in homes where they get abused. It's sad because we don't have the patience to take care of our own. And I'm sad because that's what I did with my dad. We did that with my father. We put him in let's say what it is. We put him in an old folks home.
Mm-hmm.
And they rot there. They lose their mind there. They go into quick dementia there. They no longer connected to anything, and they die quick. Oh, America has the worst how they deal with their elderly. But when you go throughout the world and among the indigenous people, even the Asian has respect for the elders. But these young people have a disrespect for not the elderly, but they have disrespect for the elders. And that's got to change.
Mm-hmm.
And how you change that? It is the moral obligation of every man to protect, look here, to protect the women,
yes,
to protect the children, and to protect the elderly. That's our moral obligation. And when we stand up and do what we're supposed to do, then all that will end. That's all. If you allow me, can I read this? I was reading this morning. Can I have a minute? I just want this minute to read.
Absolutely.
This guy named Highline. Can I just read it? I want to.
Yeah.
This was done in 1843 at the National Negro Convention that took place in Buffalo. Look what he said. I'm going to say 1843, it took place. It was called the National Negro Convention. Look what he said. He opens up, he says, in the name of God, he asks, are you men? Where is the blood of your fathers? Has it all run out of your veins? Awake, awake, Negro. Millions of voices are calling on you. Your dead fathers speak to you from the graves in heaven, as with a voice of thunder. Call on you, arise, arise from the dust. Let your motto be resistance, resistance, resistance. No oppressed people have ever secured their liberty without resistance. What kind of resistance had better make? You must decide by your circumstances that surround you, and according to the suggestion of expediency. Brethren, stand up today. Protect your elderly, protect those young ones, protect your women, trust in the living God, labor for peace of the human race, and remember that you are of the 4 million.
Wow.
That's what I read this morning.
Wow.
I fired up this morning.
Wow, wow, I like it. I like it.
I want to say to the men today, rise up, wake up. Where is your blood? Has your blood run out your veins of your elderly, your fathers, or who have paid the price today? And we sitting on this phone talking about the elderly as if we can't do nothing about it. We can.
Yes.
Rise up.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
That's on my heart right here.
I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. And it's amazing how it lines up with exactly what we're talking about. It lines up, man. It lines up. It's parallel. Go ahead, Joseph.
No, I'm just fired up. Cap got me fired up, man. I'm just want to listen there.
Man, you can't just listen, man. But Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
What do you call that? That don't take care of his own? Infidel?
Yes.
We how did we get there? To the point where we do what they do. I don't know who they are, but we should follow after they. Put our kids and our parents away like horses that can't run no more. Put them out to the pasture. They can't. They're out of the race. You got to excuse the background. All of a sudden, after 6 years, I start working again. And I think that I've began to be in our family one of the elders. I used to look at them and for guidance, for instructions when I didn't see my way. you had uncles and aunties and grandmothers and grandfathers, and they would sit there with their pipes and their tobacco, and there was a quiet in the room when they started speaking. Now we try to out-talk them. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Young folks want respect for what? For what? When we have tossed aside our heritage, our morals, our values, and we do like them. Who are them? Who are they? I don't know. But we sure following after them. We're running fast and going nowhere. In a circle to nowhere. Don't make no sense, but we still going there. And we're going there quick. We don't sit at the table no more. We don't sit and talk. We're rushing. We're trying to get. We're trying to gain. We're trying to get that bag. And if you're in the way, we're going to put you aside. And we're going to forget about you. But how much wisdom is in the old folks' home? Sitting there wondering for the door to open to a familiar face. Ain't that sad?
Very, very.
Ain't that sad?
Waiting on the door to open. Yeah.
And you know what the bad thing about that right here? We don't know how to get it back. We've gone so far and gained so little.
Is it that we don't know how, or in some instances we don't want to?
When you go on the road to destruction, you get comfortable.
Yeah.
And when you get blind, and when the blind start leading the blind, we just enjoy the ditch.
Wow. Wow. Mr. Hicks, talk to me, sir.
I guess I'm just listening too.
But see, my thing is, and Tucson put something out there, man. He said that we can't get it back. We can't get back to that place. Is it that we can't get back to that place, or is it that in this society everything moving so fast we really don't want to, or don't feel as though we have the time to?
I think that's just a reality. The fact there is no going backwards. There's no going back to the good old days. There's not making anything great again. It's never been great. Everything is going forward and expanding. New parameters are being found, new ideas, new questions, new kind of old histories, true history is being revealed. But everything's going forward. Elders, like I say, aging. I think about that. And I get up. I started the last couple of weeks. I get up a couple hours early now, going through some exercising thing. I just looked at my body. I mean, I really looked in the mirror, right? And I said, I don't like what I see, and I know what I see is basically of a person that spent most of my life very active. That I've got inactive for a long period of time. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I, in my head, and I when I get around people my age and younger, and I know it's a blessing. I gotta say it comes from the Creator. But then again, I when I think about how I think and how I always thought, how I always looked about life and looked about exercise and getting deep into meditation when I was young and researching the yogi, these people that said they live all these crazy years. And so my belief system is sort of functioning different. And I'm grateful that I'm I said before in May, but I can hold my own on all levels. And but if I don't use it, I'll lose it. I'm motivated by Rico. When Rico go through his walking routine, he passed right by my window. My chair sitting by the window, my front porch. I look out, I see Rico making these rounds.
Yeah.
So over the past year, I've started making my few rounds, But
motivation. Yeah.
But
absolutely. That's good. That's good. Rico, talk to me, brother. Do we want to? Is it that we can't get back, or we just don't? We got so much to do. We so busy. We just don't have time. Grandma and granddaddy, go on over there in that home. They're gonna take care of you over there in that home over there, and stay on over there. Stay on over there. We ain't got time for this.
You know, that's the easy way of saying, you know what, grandmama and granddaddy, I got more important things I want to do than to come see you. Imagine that, because that's the way they hear that. When you tell them and you make up all these excuses of why you can only come and sit for 10 minutes and you got to go. But you got 24 hours and 7 days in a week and 365 days in a year, but you can only come on holidays and stay for 5 or 10 minutes and you got to go. Oh, we in a hurry. We're about to be late. We just got to squeeze you in, loved one. Thank you for bringing me into this world. Thank you for doing your part. You know, so it comes down to, can we get back to it? Man, that's the wrong question. The question is, can we get back in order?
Come on.
Because thousands of years before I existed, people been getting old and dying, and people been taking care of the old people in the village, the elderly, protecting the elderly, feeding the elderly until they go into their last days. Great Spirit and all these other cultures that have these beliefs that the elderly may turn to cows. Guess what? They're taking care of the elderly when you can't kill a cow. And that in Hindu, they still taking care of the elderly. So when the elderly die and pass on, this is where they think they go to, and you better not eat one. We protecting these cows. That's the priority. That's the whole priority of life. And we listen, this culture is the one that having this discussion. Oh, we got too much going on. We got too much going on. So busy. We so busy. And then you get old and now you're thinking to yourself, wow, everybody don't forgot about me. They all overseas and went on vacation, and they come back and they send pictures. They bring pictures and show them to me, and then they leave and go do it again while I'm just sitting here dealing with these old rude people that don't care nothing about me. They just here to do a job, and some of them are lazy. So I mean, you know, I look at that situation, man. It comes back down to actually being your brother's keeper. You know, just like Hicks notices me when I'm walking. If I don't see that light come on in a certain amount of time, I think to myself, is he all right? Sometimes I'll call. But guess what the best thing to do is, if you want to get in order, get back on track of what your priority is and understanding the real meaning of life. Don't just sit here and think to myself, is he all right? Call and see.
Go knock on that door.
Act on it. Just sit back, wait. Well, I'm gonna wait and see if it's light come on in another hour. You might get distracted in the next hour. You know how many people in the last 5 or 6 years, man, I know of that have been found dead in their homes? Some of them young. I know a female that's like a year younger than me just got found on Saturday in her home. 49 years old. Found dead. But that's not rare. But what I'm saying is, on a more consistent basis in the past, I'm gonna say in the past 7 years, I've been seeing a lot of elderly people been found dead in their home. And one person, I was walking by his house every day, walking my dog. Walking by his house every day, and he had been up in that joker for a couple of weeks. He had been in there so long, rats had started eating on him.
Good Lord.
And I felt bad because every time I walked by his house, I was like, man, I ain't seen old Luke sitting on the porch in a while. Man, I ain't seen old Luke sitting on the porch in a while, man. It sure looks still. Luke must be gone out of town with one of his relatives or something. Just assuming. Because we don't want to stop what we're doing right now. We want to assume the best instead of taking the precaution to say, well, you know what? Because some people say, quit being so pessimistic, be optimistic. And so that helps people to assume the best and not go and think the worst. But sometimes you got to think the worst and knock on the door, and they answer the door. Hey, man, boy, I'm glad you answered the door. I thought something was wrong.
Exactly.
Better to be safe than sorry. But yeah, man, we are neglecting our elderly, and it shows in our society.
And Rico, you said something there, man, and to go knock on that door and have them to come to that door, and you say, man, you know, I just wanted to make sure you was okay, man. You know, I ain't seen you in a while. They would appreciate that. At least I know somebody's looking out for me. At least I know if something would have happened, somebody gonna come knock on my door and check on me.
And how much time out of a day does it take to do that? Or when you know children are living in a bad situation, how much time in a day does it take to go knock on that door and just peek in there and see how them children are living and to have a conversation with them?
Not that much at all.
Not at all.
Not that much at all. But again, we're so busy. We're so busy.
We don't take,
yeah, exactly. Badger, talk to me. Leonard, coming to you next. Come on, Badger.
Man, it's really sad, because the amount of elderly that don't have visitors, don't have anyone there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because people are so wrapped up in the struggle of life.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even give an elderly person, a lot of people don't even give the time to an elderly person to find out if they're, to give them time to talk, to do anything. You'd be surprised that just going to an elderly home or a retirement home, and just going in there and visit, sitting down, letting them talk. The stories, the lessons, the experiences that you could learn from are how do you pronounce that word? Astronomical?
That's good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you have to listen. They got to the age that they have because they've learned from their experiences and their struggles.
In some cases. Mm-hmm.
And some are, I mean, it could be luck and many other things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a sad place, and I swear it almost feels like it was done intentionally. Of the dynamics of old ways of the parents being able to work and the grandparents, being able to watch the kids and not have, there was a lot more family dynamics. And here and there, it still exists here and there. But it used to be common all over the place, where the elderly would watch some of the neighborhood kids and things like that. The elders, the ones that, everyone in the neighborhood respected. It didn't matter who you were. It was the wise one, and you better listen to them.
Oh yeah.
Because if they told your parents you didn't behave, boy howdy. And I miss those days. And I'm only 36, and I've been scratching my head wondering how did it happen? Where things have gotten so out of hand that people are so wrapped up trying to make sure they get a job to be able to afford anything. It's almost like nobody has time to sit and listen to learn from those that have been around. And now we got some younger generations that are mad at the older generation because they think everything's their fault. Because of the way the things are now. And I just, at least in my own opinion, looking at cost of living and inflation and everything else, it's hard to get two groups of people together when one blames the other. One says they're lazy, the other one said that, well, I'm stuck with all this crap because of y'all. And that dynamic, that indoctrination, in my opinion, has a lot to do with what's going on now.
Wow.
We're so separated in so many different facets of blaming and fighting among one another that we've forgotten that we can learn from each other.
Wow, that's good. That's good. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. We're talking about the elderly. We're talking about our elderly and the hand that they've been dealt. and it's constantly being dealt here in America. It's certainly not the same way across the world, but here in America, we overlook our elderly sometimes. We don't give them the time and the respect that they so rightfully deserve. Brother Pete, talk to me, brother.
I want to give an apology to Rico and Leonard for having not checked in with my elders more often. I do respect my elders and we value them. So as Leonard and Rico are aging, we want to show great respect and honor to our elders. And I got to do a better job of checking in on them more often. So I wanted to say that first of all. I definitely respect those that are older than me and not necessarily as handsome as me. But we definitely need to do a better job.
Lord Jesus.
I knew you see that side I was giving. I knew he was coming with that mismatch.
We definitely have to do a better job of honoring our elders. I like what Rico said. You know, checking in on the older folks, be more observant, and look at how our parents and even our grandparents. What would it look like, and what could the benefits be if the older folk, your grandparents, your great grandparents, older aunties, something, were living in the house with you?
Yeah, come on.
If they were actually still in a structure together, you know, with the children, with the grandchildren, you know, the nieces and nephews, you know, the family structure right there. If that unit was closer connected, what would that look like? You'll be hearing all them old sayings, you know, a dog always needs his tail more than once. God don't like ugly. An empty wagon make all the noise. You know, they be hearing all this type stuff, right? And learning them lessons, learning those keys for life. Those little 2 5-minute interactions that set your structure right, set your perspective right, you know, and help you to develop yourself completely. We definitely do a horrible job in this country of really appreciating our elders. I mean, when not throwing blows, you know, sincerely not, but when Sister Cassandra or Brother Toussaint, when they speak, you know, brother, I can't think of that, Muslim brothers that call in, but they have some experience and wisdom.
Yeah.
They say if you just quiet down and listen to the points that they're making, I mean, these are heavyweight, critical, valuable points that they often come with, but that comes from that seasoning. That seasoning.
Yeah.
They've been around the moon and sun quite a few times, and they have some value that they can contribute, and it's greatly beneficial. We have to, you know, slow down and do a better job of that. The ills that we have in this society and the elders that we have running this society, you would think that they would have a better perspective of things of the greater whole, how to manage this thing in a better way. Right? You would think that, right? But because of whatever greed and position and power, personal, whatever, we seem to still be greatly off track. But when we have older folks around, we would think that wisdom, that experience. You know, I did this back in the day, and this resulted, and I know now not to go about it that way. You know, a soft answer turneth away wrath, a harsh answer stirreth up wrath. You know, but you hear that, but you didn't live a couple of times, some years. You know that.
Yeah.
Now you know how to. You know, I said what I meant. I might not have said it right, but I meant what I said. But with some experience, you know how to say it right.
Yeah.
You know how to approach the situation and the individual correctly to where the point is made and it can be received. That comes with knowledge, with wisdom, with experience, with living, with getting older and knowing some things. So, you know, the value is there, but do we appreciate? Do we pause long enough to identify it and learn from it?
And I say,
otherwise, we're destined to follow a lot of ills that we've had in the past, and look at the result. Look at your society today. And if we stop for a second, a lot of it does come from not respecting experience and wisdom.
Exactly. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
listening to other perspectives, and you know, Mr. Pete will be getting a thrashing later on today. But you know, shout out to that brother. I can honestly say he's a guy that I seek a lot from, because ever since I've met him, he's been a helping hand.
Yes.
Always ready to give wisdom, but he walked the walk that he taught. So, you know, I don't live from the outside in. I live from the inside out. I've done these things all my life because I'm from that type of community. To this day, we still do the same things. So I don't look at what other people are not doing. If it's just something you need in your neighborhood, you should be starting that organization to check on those older people in your neighborhood. Not talking about what ain't nobody else doing. You have to go do it. I'm from a missionary Baptist church. That's what we did. We went out and checked on the elderly. To this day, we still take care of our elderly with us, except for those who don't want us to. You know, you can't force yourself on other people. But instead of talking about what somebody ain't gonna do, get a couple people together just like you and let that be your ministry. It's not gonna get done with talking. Just like Rico said, if he don't see that light on, he wonder what's going on with Mr. Hicks.
Yep.
He's not worried about if somebody else gonna look out for Mr. Hicks. He gonna go check. See, that's why I've never put me on other people. You have to be about it today. What matters today. And don't blow it out of proportion. There are people that rather spit in your face than you do anything for them. Be ready for them too.
Wow.
Be ready for them too. You understand everybody ain't lived the life to get to an old age where people want to take care of them. Because they have done nothing for no one. And a lot of times this is why they're alone. Because of how they have treated people. Don't you be that person. People who don't even have relationships with their children. That's why they're alone. Because they didn't cultivate relationships with their children.
Yeah.
Who were supposed to be their caretakers. So that's why when our people get old, they come to us and we take care of them. Because they took care of us.
Exactly.
It's hard to get that if you haven't built that. So people have to remember and take into consideration and everything into perspective. I'm still getting counseling from a woman that's 81, still sitting down at a desk, who, if it wasn't for her keeping me on the straight and narrow, who knows? I would have been put this work aside and moved on. But just seeing her show up, how important it is that she show up every day, 81 years old. And she was my administrative assistant for a few years. If it wasn't for her always saying, don't give up, pointing out the crazy ones, you know, and we've developed a relationship where she's like another mother to me. It's because when I meet people, they connect with that village mentality that I came from. And that's our relationship. Because I give them due honor and respect, and they know it because I've been raised that way.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Do we give our elderly the right shake in life? Do we give them the right shake in life? I'm gonna say it that way. Toya with a T, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Good to have you, sis. Ryan, coming to you next, brother. Be on standby. What do you say to this conversation? We asking a question. Do we here in this country take care of our elderly the way that we should? Do we give them the right, proper love, honor, and respect that they so rightfully deserve?
Not all of us, but that's everything. We don't respect nothing. Kids, dogs, trees, we abuse everything. But especially when it comes to old people. No, I don't think so. I don't think we do right by each other. You know, I don't think I Leonard got some valid points, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, I got some old boogers in my family, boy. What? I'd be like, yo, you do know I'm the youngest, right?
Did she call them boogers? Lord Jesus.
You know I gotta take care of you, right? While you acting up. Like, yo.
Did she call
I
them
did
boogers?
call them boogers. What? Man, listen.
Lord.
Listen. It ain't but 17 of the ones that got sense. I'm just being real. The rest of them boogers crazy. You hear me? They do a lot. They make it hard, setting their old ways, and some of their ways wasn't right. You know what I mean?
You gotta
Like,
pick them.
man, they make it complicated. All of them wasn't right, yo.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about the challenging ones, the ones like that, let it talk about the one you ain't do right. You wanted to beat me for 17 years, run me out the house. Every time I called you to ask you for something, you ain't never had it. You told me to make my own way. You told me to get up and get over it. You told me to do all this. You never showed emotion, never got a hug, never got a kiss. And then here I am at 45 and you 77 and you talking about you want an allowance. What?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. But good thing there's a God that be whispering in your ear, go take care of them, girl.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do unto others as you want done unto you. Don't do the same thing folks do to you. What make you different? And they be like, all right, Lord, you right. Let me go ahead. Don't matter what nobody else do. I'm just going to do what I do. That's why I'm so spicy. That's why. Because I'm good to people. I got loyalty. I go above and beyond. That's why I earn my spiciness. So, no, we don't. But some of the older people do make it hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is our responsibility, but I mean, just like a kid go through things too. First thing you want to do is ship them off, put them off somewhere. We be feeling the same way about some of these older folks too. So it's a two-way street. You understand what I'm saying? But no, some of us do get out of hand. I feel like older adults and kids are in the same boat. I'm not gonna close fist no 77-year-old woman. I'm finna walk away. I'm finna get out of the way. She can't catch me. Just like the baby. How was 7-year-old gonna do something to you? He ain't fast enough. She ain't fast enough. And I feel like they go in the same boat. I gotta take care of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I need to be more gentle with them, more patient with them. Make sure they can reach things. They're a little slow work. You understand what I'm saying? We're in the same boat. My 77-year-old mama can't do the same things my 35-year-old friend can do and say the same things that they can do. You understand what I'm saying? Or when she swat at me, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna hurt. It probably did when she was 37, but at 77, I'm like, girl, you don't go on and sit down somewhere throwing that. Go on, get up out of here.
Spoil you with a team.
But no, for real. You got to be gentle with them. And I think sometimes it's hard for us, but that's how I deal with the challenging older people. You know what I'm saying? And now some people don't, especially in my service. Oh, old people, the worst tippers. Oh, what? Oh, my gosh. You know you're only getting $2, but still, it's a pleasure for me to be able to make an older person's day. You know what I'm saying? I know your life's been hard. I know what you've been through. I know you make mistakes. I know everybody probably don't understand you. But when you come sit down with me and eat, you're going to be a young man. You're going to be a young lady. You ain't going to be but 21. You can't drink alcohol. You're not old enough. Do I need to get your kids menu? You want some crayons? I'm going to take you backwards a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I know how the world is a struggle for a person that's 77 plus, set on a budget. You don't work 50 years and hit his pension, can't even keep up with what's going on outside. Come on with the jokes. You know what I mean? So no, everybody don't look at it like that. And no, we really give our older people a short and other stick, but they don't make that stick so easy to chew either.
Wow. Boy, look here. We got the preacher version of Toya with a T this morning. We got the preacher version. Boy, look
Real
at
talk, Toya. That's real talk.
absolutely.
When you're really doing it, you know.
That's
You
right.
know when you're
Yeah,
really
that's
doing
right.
it, Raheem, because
Yeah.
I can tell you, it's hard. And like she said, sometimes they don't like you. They fuss with you, fight with you. What they may slam the door in your face. You know what you got to do? See you tomorrow, old man.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
I'll be back tomorrow. You get you
I'll
another
be back
chance. Slam the
tomorrow,
door
old
again.
man.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't help get housing. They on the street, you know, picking them up and taking them. I mean, soon they get their check. Next thing you know, they ain't went back to the place you found for them. You know, just it's a lot, and you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And even now, I wish I had more, so I could bring all of them to one place.
Yep. Exactly.
You know,
That's good. That's good.
So think about that, kids. You have to think about that. When I listen to the guys that came from nothing that have made it now, who didn't have relationship, like I think Tyler Perry is one of them. They may not have had relationship, but because it's his father and he can do, he's going to make sure he always has a place to live. Like Oprah and everybody, they take care of their people, regardless of who they were. Like I got one that she gonna have to be in the house way out in the back.
Lord Jesus.
Okay, because that's how she is.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna let her starve.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not
That's
gonna
good.
let her be out here in the streets unless she want to be. Because there was a point some of them want to be, but you have to be like one, even with a child. When they don't make, I'm in the middle right now. I got kids that you looking like, Lord have mercy. I know I'm gonna have to do something a little bit more substantial because this joker right here, depending on him to take care of me.
It's
I don't know.
It's gonna be a little testy. It's gonna be a little testy. It's gonna be a little testy. Let me go to Ryan. Ryan Cap coming to you next. Ryan, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, as someone who takes care of his elderly grandparents, they in their 80s, I honor them because if it wasn't for my grandparents, I probably would have never had nothing good in my life to begin with. That's just real talk. They made a way for me when there was no way on certain situations. They were always available, made themselves available, so I make myself available to them. And it's not even crazy stuff. Like they still get out and do their grocery shopping and stuff like that. But I go out there on Sundays. I take out the trash for them. If they got little honeydew lists in the house, like some light bulbs that need to be changed, or I need to change the sheets on the bed for them because they didn't mess the bed or something like that, or the batteries ain't working in his mouse on his computer. I show up and take care of all of that. But that's just me. And, as someone who has a dual citizen card for Canada and the U.S., I can tell you that it ain't all rainbows and sunshine on the other side of the border, neither. They got to wait 1 to 2 years to get medical attention. Yeah, they got free health care, but they ain't seeing nobody till they about dead. My great-grandmother lived to 104 years old in Canada. She had housing, but she had to pay for that out of my great-granddad's pension. And you can imagine living 104 years, how expensive that was.
Yeah.
So it's not all sunshine and rainbows everywhere else. But what is other cultures and how they revere their elderly. It's still a family unit. It's not get out my house and go to assisted living. It's come on in here. You can have the master bedroom.
Yeah.
I'll stay in the 1 bedroom or the little bedroom. They love and revere their seniors because if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be here, number one, and they wouldn't be where they are. Whether it's you doing dirty or not, you still wouldn't be where you at without your elders.
Yep.
And that's something we've lost, especially in some of our urban areas. It used to be when I was coming up, there was OGs in the neighborhood. And everybody respect the OG. You don't disrespect the OG or somebody going to teach you a lesson. Now it's these kids out here give a rip about none of that.
Yeah.
OG or not, I'll kill OG. I don't care. That's the problem.
Wow.
People stop caring. That's my opinion. That was on my heart.
Exactly. Cap, talk to me. Rico, come to you next. Cap, you there?
Well, you know, I know what everybody's saying, and there's no question. I think that we're identifying some of the shortcomings of America, their treatment to those who have gave so much service of their lives. The grandmother or the elderly in the home. If you have a will, and before you put a new set of tires, they put a balance on it. That little piece of lead,
Yep.
makes a difference in the rotation and the smooth, look at the word, smooth rotation of that wheel. When you take out the home, that elderly or that elder, that grand, then the tire of the family is now in a wobble. We have a wobble in the home. We have a wobble in the community. There is no smooth balance.
Come on.
So when you put the elderly back where they belong in the home, they bring balance.
Come on.
They bring things. We have to learn to use wisdom. How you going to say you're an elder and you dumber than all outdoors? You've gone through the vicissitudes of life and you don't learn nothing. We become our parents. I'm my father now. Everything that he said when I was young, I used to laugh and make mockery. Same with my mother. May God be pleased with her. But I'm my mother now. Her sayings become my sayings. And every one of you know, they used to tell you, keep living long enough, boy. You'll see. Just keep breathing. Here I am now, 69. And I tried to pass on the wisdom of what they gave to me. But I'm a protector. And I like what Rico, let me tell you what we did. In 1979, I started in Columbus, Ohio, a patrol group of FOI. We was called the Sentinels. We would walk the beat like the police in our neighborhood. Had a big old searchlight. We had a 4x4 Blazer with a big searchlight on it. Man, the elderly loved that. We would come, man, we have muffler when they crazy, you hear, and they knew every hour on the hour, we would take that searchlight and hit their house, and then we go in the alley, hit the back, and them elderly people would look for that searchlight. They would look for us to light, hit the light, here come our security. And if we missed them, they would tell us the next day, you missed, you 2 o'clock, where was y'all at 2 o'clock? And we would tell the elderly, Miss So-and-so, if you keep your light on, if you keep your porch light on, we know that, but anytime you want us to stop, and it's a problem, turn your porch light off. So we would go by and we say, oh, Miss Wheels' porch light, I stopped. And I remember, man, we knocked on Miss Wheels' door. She had the longest gun. Her gun was longer than Route 66. I go, oh, Lord. What an old gun. Oh, I'm just checking. Y'all ain't come around. How you doing? Are you okay? I was just checking. You told us when we need you to turn the light on, I need somebody to give me some milk in the morning, son. I can't get to the store.
Yeah.
I said, we got you, Miss Williams. We got you. And if they like, well, no one, if they have the light, porch light on and off and to turn on, that was a sign. So I like what you check in on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that light, just the fact that we was checking on, made them feel safe. But I like this conversation because Leonard is an elder. Brother Rico's an elder. I like Brother Pete is an elder. Brother Hicks is an elder. You still got a little way to go, Basil, but you're on your way. Just keep breathing. But you know, the bottom line, you're an elder, Raheem. We looked at our sister Cassandra, Sister T, brings so much experience. Elders. Why, you know, at Willa, elders.
Mm-hmm.
And we have on this show a wealth. And Ryan, we have on this show a wealth of wisdom, experience. We don't throw that away. You know, when every one of y'all speak, Captain D, man, I admire y'all because I walk away with something from your experience. And I hope and pray to God you walk away with something of good from my experience.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Raheem.
Absolutely. Rico?
Yeah, you know, man, I grew up, man, watching my granddaddy look after some people next door to him. I thought we were related. I found out later on we were related. Mr. and Mrs. Monroe Young. They lived to like be maybe 100, and then I think she lived to be like 97. And they didn't go into a nursing home until nobody could really take care of them in their old age. You know, they needed some real medical attention, pretty much. And man, I watched my granddaddy take care of them. Little did I know, I found out later on that they were his former in-laws. And their daughter had kidnapped his children and ran to California, but he still stayed sort of loyal and righteous towards them, respectful towards them. And man, he would work their garden. Man, I mean, cut the grass, everything he did in his yard, he would go to their yard and do it. Sometimes he did it before his yard. He would go do theirs first. Yeah. And Mr. Monroe would be out there, man, and he'd have me walking around in his green house, and he'd pull a pear off his pear tree, man, and he had an apple tree. I mean, he had all these trees, man. They had a garden, and my granddad kept his garden up. I almost thought that was my yard, too, as long with, you know, my grandparents' yard. And I also saw my grandmother. Man, I didn't realize when I was young how bad this is until I told my younger cousin about this the other day, because she had a bad idea in her mind about our grandfather, which he was a bad drunk, a wino. He traumatized his children with his behavior, but I also remember the good side of him, and that was one of those things. And also with my grandmother, she went and fed and took care of her aunts every day. Her aunts. I was like, man, maybe 5, 6, 7 years old. And I would go with her every day if I acted good. She would let me go over to Auntie Betty and Rose's house. And they would sit there, man, and it was just, you know, I didn't realize how much it meant to me until now to see my grandmother's aunts. That was her mother's sister.
Yeah.
I never met my great-grandmother, but, you know, now it means a lot to me, man. And I saw that action. I saw my other grandmother feed the elderly people in the neighborhood that didn't have anybody. Take Uncle Buddy his plate, Rico. And I had to take a plate up to Mr. Buddy house at least 2 or 3 days out the week when I got, 2 or 3 times a day after I got old enough. Now, when I was too young, I would just ride up there with her. And sometimes Mr. Buddy, Uncle Buddy, would have his butt on his shoulders. He'd be a little ornery sometimes. He'd be a little mean. But grandma would just laugh it off. I didn't like it. I was, man, he mean. He don't even like me to come in there. He tell me, every time I come in, he tell me, sit down somewhere, don't go to touching stuff. And I'm like, well, what you bring me up here for? This man gonna be just griping and being mean and nasty. But as I got a little older, he started, you know, being able to communicate with me. He'd give me a little $1 or something like that for bringing this plate up there. And he started talking to more respect. So I just knew he was an ornery old man that really didn't like young children because they really couldn't understand. But as you got older, he could. But she would overlook that. And so that's something that I guess, you know, I guess I inherited that subconsciously. I didn't realize just how much it meant to me to make sure I looked out for the vulnerable and the people that do need others looking out for them. But man, you know, I'm an empathetic person, man. I could see commercials of children in orphanages and start tearing up. They had a little commercial about these 2 cats in the orphanage. and I tear up when I hear that cat talking about someone. Maybe it'll be your time today. I tear up. I'm like, man, turn the channel. And then you know what really makes me tear up is imagining a human being in the last years of their life sitting in a facility that looks like a lunchroom with bright lights and roommates and beds that don't look like real beds, that have family members, but they sitting up here in a facility that look like a lunchroom. They look like Walmart on the inside.
Yeah.
Man, that bothers me. Every time I go by a nursing home, man, I'm like, man, these places probably shouldn't exist to the extent, you know, not the assisted living facilities, but nursing homes where you know that these people have family members, man, but the family members are not taken care of, and they could easily be better off at home. A bunch of the people that live on their own. I see so many that live on their own, and I'm like, ain't nobody coming by checking on this man.
Yeah,
ain't nobody coming by checking on this woman. You know, so yeah, man. I mean, that's just that goes to show you how people really don't value what the Creator has given us. They value more what man has given us, and that what man has created will distract you from what God has created and wants you to appreciate more than anything. And that lets you know that somewhere we're not on the right track.
Exactly. We got a lot of conversation that we got left. We got a little more than 45 minutes. About 45 minutes left, and I want to play this. I got to play my commercial one more time. I hope y'all ain't getting tired of hearing my commercial, but I got to play it, man, because I want these folks to come out and have a good time, man. So this is our 70s, 80s, and 90s flashback party. If you're in and around the Atlanta, Georgia area on this date, make sure you make your way to this. I want to see all of y'all there. I want to see each and every one of y'all there, man. Come on out. Have a good time with us, man. It's a great cause. Good music, good everything. Look, when I say everything, good everything gonna be there. I just say it like that, but it's gonna be very nice. Here it is.
70s, 80s, and 90s flashback jam. Do you know how to party? Do you still have your boogie shoes? Sine Event Hall, 2308 Henry Cloud Boulevard, Snellville, Georgia. Get your tickets today.
Get your tickets today. Get your tickets today.
Raheem.
Yes.
I love you, bro. Listen, I love you.
Don't say it then. You about to say so. Don't
nobody say no Stone Cold no more, boy.
no, but that was back in the day, though. You gotta have the atmosphere. That was back in the day. That's what they say. A Stone Cold Boogie. It's a Stone Cold Boogie. So I'm gonna have the atmosphere of that time, of that era. You gotta look at Rico just laugh. He got something on his Lord Jesus. Ain't no telling. But you gotta have the feel of that time. It's a flashback party, so you gotta talk flashback. Look, flashback. Yeah, you gotta talk. You gotta
talk. Fool.
You gotta on there and burn some skin and get down.
Yeah, exactly. Give me 5 on the black hand side. You know, come on, man. Come on.
Jive turkey.
Hey, come on now. No. Jive time turkey. You gotta be a jive time turkey. Come on now.
Hey, look, right here, we're gonna keep it real, man. We're gonna keep it real. You know, like we say, we're gonna keep it real. Man, me and Toya been picking at you, man.
Uh-oh. Oh Lord! Oh no, where we about to go? Oh no,
Toya missed it, man. Toya called me picking on you, man. She told me, she said you sound like Vincent Price. I said, man, we put on a funeral party.
I was just trying to figure out why you yelling. I said that.
So you on the bus, Toya.
Hey,
do you know how to boogie?
Look at it. Hey, that's how you do that thing, man. That's how you do that thing, man. Look, you gotta be 70, 80, well, 70s. Gotta be 70s, man. You see, y'all, Mr. Hicks, they don't remember the 70s like that. The 70s is
you older than us, I think.
They don't know nothing about that.
You about 65 right here, I think.
No. We ain't gonna claim that one yet. Hopefully I make it there. Hopefully
We know Soul Train.
You know, so it's gonna be a stone cold blast. Ain't that what Don Cornelius said? It's gonna be a stone cold blast.
But we couldn't get in like you. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, you look here. Soul Train line and all that. We're gonna do all that, man. Look, this gonna be a stone cold blast. Y'all ain't ready for that. Y'all ain't ready for that. Let me see who we got on the phone. I ain't fooling with y'all, man. Shanavia, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
I am good and tickled this morning already. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. We're having a conversation and we're talking about our elderly people and how they've been treated or mistreated in the society in which we live in. Do we treat our elderly right here in this country?
We treat our elderly right, and we don't. I think some of us. Let me not be so cynical. Some of us do. Mm-hmm. Some of us don't. But some of us also have a hard time treating each other right. So the elderly and the younger population and everything in between is it's one and the same at this point. We don't know how to treat humans right. So when it comes to the elderly, it's one and the same. It's not. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. We don't know how to treat each other right. With the elderly.
Wow. That's good. Wheeler, talk to me, brother. And Wheeler, coming to you next. Wheeler, you there?
Who? You said Wheeler?
Wheeler.
Oh, okay. I was you normally say Joseph. I was like Wheeler or Wheeler.
Now, Joseph, you don't know your name, man. Wait,
I know, man. I ain't used to you calling me. Hey, but you still talking about the elderly?
Yes, sir. Do we do them right, man, or do we do a disservice to our elderly?
You just asked me what happened when I left the line. My dad called. You know, he's 84. He's in Kalamazoo, man. He calls me just about every morning. Or if he don't, then I call him. But man, he got millions of stories, man, and some of them are repeats. But sometimes I just listen. I just I'll call him or he'll call me. Sometimes we laugh, about some things that he and I both remember. But the one of the greatest highlights of his day is going to the senior center and bragging about his son calling him.
Wow.
And I mess around and send him a couple of my CDs, that I had produced. Boy, and you thought I was Michael Jackson. Let him tell it.
Yes, sir.
But it's I've always made it a habit of going to see the older people, man. Wherever I go, even here in the Metro Atlanta area, I have some elderly friends that I check in on. I go by and sit with them, man, and laugh and talk. And when COVID hit, couldn't go by. I didn't want to take a chance, some of them, was sickly or whatever, but I call them on the phone, Prior to COVID, we might go out to Waffle House and sit there and laugh and talk, man, have some breakfast. But it's a beauty in that too. I think that we miss, I mean, just to sit there and experience that moment, that time. This time you never get back again. And we could be so busy that we miss our own blessings.
Yeah.
And then I found myself the other day. My grandbaby, she's 16 now, and the other two, they grown, and so they got a lot of things going on. But I found myself missing her voice, And I called her and I said, you know what? I just wanted to hear your voice. And she was like, oh, hey, Papa, how you doing? Now just imagine what our older people felt about us when we neglect to call them. Yeah, so the table will turn one day. Yeah, that was on my heart.
And it will. It absolutely will. And like I said, like
Yeah.
old folks always tell you when you're growing up, you talking about me being old, well, keep living. Just keep living. You're gonna get here too. Just keep on living. And I promise you, if you keep living, one day you're gonna be that elderly that you're talking about. You're gonna be that.
Exactly.
Willow!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
I am doing fine, Raheem. Good this morning.
Good deal. Good deal. We're talking about our elderly today. We're talking about our elderly and how we treat or mistreat our elderly sometimes. And do we give them the proper respect that they so rightfully deserve as our elderly? Or as our elders, I should say.
Yeah, I always try to base my experience on my inner circle that I see the most. And, one thing that I found out today, Raheem, and I'm not trying to make it a culture thing, but it used to be where, we would say that if our parents got sick or, something went wrong, that they would keep the parent at home. But now I see mostly that they're putting their parents into the senior home or the rehab homes. And there's this one person that I know, I know for a fact that they love their mother the most. I know. And she had got dementia. And she was at home for a while, and he was trying to really, really take care of her. But then it got hard. It got hard for him. And I mean, he broke down, so he didn't want to do it, but it was like he had to do it. And I understood. So until you're in those shoes and you're looking on the outside, you don't really understand taking care of the elderly sometimes when they've gotten to a point where you can't take care of them anymore. Now, the ones that we can, we still do that. Call. They need to go somewhere or do something. Yeah, they do that. I take pride in that. But there are some that, whose parents are still in wheelchairs and they're right in the house and they got to call somebody to come do something for them in the house. So, yeah, that's up and down with that, Raheem. But, it just depends on what kind of situation they're in at that time. And that's what's on my heart, Raheem, which we should take care of them and find the resources that they need to have at that time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I agree. In those cases, like I said earlier, with my grandfather and his in-laws, it got to a point where, it wasn't anything he or my grandmother could do to look out for them. They needed, more extended care from CNAs.
Yeah.
People that could come and monitor them because they became bedridden and they needed, they needed that type of observation. They couldn't afford to have my granddaddy walking around and they doing the garden and this and that and then trying to help out with them too. It was just something that was beyond his means. So yeah, in those cases, you have no choice but to take them somewhere where they could be taken better care of than you can take care of. But we have those instances where those that they really shouldn't be there. They only need slight care.
Yeah.
But they're just going there just because they need that assistance, that small assistance that they should get from their children. I can honestly say, man, I'm not nowhere near the person that my grandfather and my grandmother was. Even though I have some of that in me, I don't do it to the extent that they did it. Why? Because I'm part of this modern world. I'm a child of integration. I'm a child of modern society. So, I'm also one of these addicted people that has been caught up in the vices and the hustle and bustle of today's time, trying to make it, survive. You get what I'm saying? So, one of these things, we do have to acknowledge that the conditions that exist today, they really do put the average person in a position to where maybe they can't even afford to have that parent there, especially if that parent can't contribute. Like, say, for instance, that elderly person may be the one that can help you watch your children while you're at work.
Yeah.
They can supervise. Maybe they can still do some cooking or whatever. They can contribute to the home. But when you have to have somebody that's an invalid and you have to take care of them the whole time, You might have to have your children help you out because you got to work. So, I mean, you know, there are certain conditions that exist, man. You know, we need these 6 or 7 different sources of income. That ain't gonna just happen because you asked for it. You gotta make something happen for it. And that will also take away from the time from not only you going to visit these elderly people in the assisted living facilities, but even being able to take care of the ones in your home properly.
Yep.
I mean, you know, it's just, you know, this is the demand for survival, the cost of living, all of these things. And, you know, therefore that's why we should make sure we vote and pay attention to Social Security. That's why we should pay attention to the political side of it, because there is a political side that is supposed to address that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if it's all going to defense contracts, then we're going to see a lot more homeless and older elderly people, and we're going to see a lot more elderly people in McDonald's at 4 o'clock in the morning working the drive-through, humped over because they don't have insurance.
Casualties of war, and that's sad. That's really what it boils down and what it sounds like to me. They become casualties of war, man, and that's sad.
Right.
That's so sad. Toya with a T. We got another caller. We'll go to Toya with a T. But before I go to Toya, I gotta say this: midnight crawlers so close at hand. The midnight. How do you say that?
Man, just move on. Just move on.
You
ain't even know what it was.
We're just kidding, man. We're just kidding.
I'm saying that. I'm trying to get you down. The midnight crawlers close at hand. Hey, Toya, with a T. What's on your heart, sis?
I'm getting old. Hell, I forgot what I was getting ready to say. Now you went off topic. You can't do that.
Uh-oh. Gotta stay on task.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
We talking about the elderly.
Yeah.
You know, everything you say is true, but I think that one vital thing that we forget is that we're not passing this down anymore. There was a teaching about this.
Yeah.
You would teach your children they had to take care and respect their others. That's not happening no more.
Mm-hmm.
I had a grandnephew call me the other day and break some things down to me. He's 16 now. I haven't seen him since he was 2.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's like, you know, got some issues. And he started breaking down these issues. And the only thing I can say, baby, I'm sorry. It's not supposed to be like that. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
They're not teaching them. They have animosity in their hearts now, and they're killing elders now because the elders are crummy.
Wow.
We don't have good elders the way we used to.
Mm-hmm.
See, the era you're talking about, we used to have solid adults.
Yeah.
One who kept us out of harm's way. One who made sure we knew to eat, need to be educated, need to be respected, and taught us to respect. They taught us things. So when we're talking about this generation that doesn't respect them, I hate to have to be the one to pull the cat out of the bag. They wasn't taught to respect nobody. And the ones that did raise them, they are the least to be respected. So, I mean, where are they supposed to get this from? Out the air?
Yeah.
Right? So, as I'm interacting with this 16-year-old young man I haven't seen in 14 years, and he's breaking this thing down to me, I'm growing more hurt about why things are the way they are in life, because nobody cares. This young man made a comment. He said, you know what, auntie? He said, I'm 16 and I'm too big to be getting beat.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but you know what the problem is? He said, I've been beat all my life and I'm not even no bad kid. I mean, stuff happened. He said, but why can't nobody just talk to me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the simplest things is what's holding some of these children from just making the right choice and decision, because they haven't been taught to take care of their older. They haven't been shown to take care of their elder. They haven't been called by their elders to know that when they grow up, they got to call their elders. They got elders, oh, you don't always come see me, but the elders don't go see them. The elders don't place no concern on what they got or what they doing. You can know, the elders can know they homeless. Back in the day, elders, you wasn't homeless because they're going to come get you. They don't care if you was an alcoholic, if you was a crackhead, if you was whatever. they'll come get you. And then the whole family was sitting up there wondering why you keep taking Johnny in when you know he an alcoholic. But now, oh no, they're gonna leave you out there on the street. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at the end of the day, they don't have the fundamental values or teachings that we've had or passed down to comprehend what taking care of their elders is. On top of everything we just discussed, Rico just made some valid points. They make it too hard for you to be able to listen. If we were still walking around building trees as huts, okay, we might be able to take care of our elderly parent that's going downhill. And all we had to do was go outside and work for our own fruits and do everything on our own. But in this society, this systematic thing is to break down the family for a reason. And that's with the increases and making things complicated in the work, and you can't afford this. All that is going to take from and break down the family structure. Period. You know what I'm saying? So that goes back to what we deem important, right? My parents, I've told them a long time ago, and again, listen, I'm not doing them how they did me. I'm doing how I feel like this is supposed to be done. And I've always told them, I'm not going to put you in a nursing home if I'm still alive. I'm going to be sitting up here struggling, crying, yo. Lifting you up in the bathtub, yo. Like, you're mine.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You're mine. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? And I can't see. Now, if I get somebody to come and have to see about you while I'm here or while I'm at work, okay. But I would think between 5 kids, no, we not. And you talking about, you think I'm spicy? I promise you I'll turn up. If out of the 5 of us, only one of us is trying to make something happen. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not always what you're taught. It's also what you decide to do. Because again, some of these boogers that didn't do their job to teach us or make sure that we had the fundamentals we need to revert back and take care of them, sometimes they just getting what's coming back to them. I mean, I'm just saying.
Wow.
Raheem.
Yes.
You know, when Toya started, you know, there's one thing that, like I said, where you gonna go from now? Once you walked away from God is why you start having these issues. This is a practice. You have to be that example. If you want your child to do it, your child needs to see you do it. See, people used to be married because they love someone enough to build something. And then guess what? Then a married couple who were in God had good godparents. Godparents just wasn't that guy you was in the street with. Godparents that was people that were responsible to assist your parents, and they trusted for your moral upbringing to help you out. So when you start believing that you didn't need no spouse and all these other things, that's why your family failed. Ain't got nothing to do with no system.
Yeah.
You chose another way. And that's why you're at where you're at today. If you go back to the teaching and establish that today, in a generation, you'll come back. But you have to do it. You can't hope your children be what you are not.
Be the example.
You have to show them.
Be the example. Absolutely.
Right. If you go into a church right now, somebody has connected with a church, and you don't have a ministry that does this in your church, start one. You have to start it. If you don't go back to being married, taking care of your children, showing your children how you take care of your parents, what do you expect? I don't look down on people for what happened. Some people you can't. Like say you get to the point where you can't take care of them because of certain issues they may have. You don't look down on people because they have to put their family in a facility. I know one guy, he's excellent, and he's a caregiver. His parents had deal with mental illness, and they've died now. But he did everything he could for them, even bringing them into the home. Do you have a plan right now for your parent? You know, like shout out to my Nana, who is my last real elder, because I call her that because she is my godmother. And when I came out my mother, she was right there.
Wow.
All of my life. So one, shout out to her on her birthday today. She's 82. I will be going there this weekend.
Happy
I'm
birthday
turning
to you.
52. So
Mhm.
I'm going there again this weekend. I've been slow because of things, but I'm trying to get more. Because one, like you say, call your elders, take them out to lunch, make sure they have things to eat. We can't sit around. You
Exactly.
don't know why a person may be eating cat food. I've learned to realize, check them out first. They may not be eating cat food because they ain't got no money. They might be eating cat food because they think they saving money.
Wow.
So you have to approach it in a certain way, and it has to be in order, and it has to help them maintain their dignity. Don't take
Wow.
your dignity away from an older person just because they up in age. I've just seen a man that I used to gamble with. He's 91. Shout out to my man Skinner. We have to clarify the things that we say. OG means something different to other people.
Good deal.
Your OG is the one that taught you about the streets. Your elder was the one that taught you about righteousness. OG is original gangster. Everybody wasn't a gangster.
Good deal. Good deal. And see, Leonard took us back down memory lane. But man, look here. This is a great conversation, man. I'm definitely appreciating it, and I hope the people that are listening are appreciating it as well. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we're talking about our elderly today and how we act, interact, treat or mistreat our elderly. Do we give them the proper respect in this society that we live in here in America that they so rightfully deserve?
No, we don't. It was a time when we did, but the times are different now. And I talk quite a bit. I think sometimes about how I see the younger people interacting, with me. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm 60. I'll be 64 next month. I feel like they act totally different than the way that that I thought our kids would be interacting with us at this time in my life. And they're disrespectful. They'll say, a lot of them, not all, a lot of them will say anything in front of you, don't have any kind of filter or respect for you. And it's sad. And we were talking about, I think it was Bulla that was mentioning about what people have to do sometimes with their elderly. But there are five. I have five siblings. Well, four and under me. I'm the oldest. But when our grandmother got Alzheimer's, there were four of them living in South Carolina near her, and I was in Atlanta. And she was so out of control that they called me from Atlanta. They were like, "Well, you're gonna have to come and handle her because we don't know what to do." Buzzy, buzzy, buzzy. So I went down. I spent some time. I, assessed how she was as far as the progression of the Alzheimer's. She was extremely violent, and they were afraid of her. Well, we've always been afraid of her, but they were really afraid of her now because she was full out violent. So then I told them, we have to make a decision. Nobody here wants to bring her into their home because of the violence. So what are we going to do? You have just a couple of options. So we sat down, we talked about it, and we decided that the best thing for all of them, because I lived in Atlanta. She didn't want to come to Atlanta. She did make that plain. So we decided to put her in a nursing home where people could watch her constantly. Because when I was there, she was trying to get out of the house like 3 o'clock in the morning. She trying to unlock the door to go to work. She'd been retired like 20 years by that time.
Wow.
So you have to assess and figure how things need to be done, but every situation is different. If you can keep them at home, of course, keep them at home.
Yeah.
But if it's a situation where it's not possible, then you come to the best conclusion for everyone involved, including that person's safety.
That's good. That's good.
Raheem, before you move on, there's also assistance grants in some states that are available for you who take care of your parents. It's called kinship grants and things of that nature, to where if you're taking care of your elderly, that you can get some assistance sometimes from the state. Because like you say, everybody can't afford these old high price places, and you may have to keep your folks at the crib.
Yeah.
So look into that and see if your state have these type of assistance if you are caring for your elderly members of your family.
Absolutely, absolutely, good deal, good deal. And then if you could pull up one, share it with me. I'm gonna share it on the screen so people could know what to do or what it could. So yeah, if you can find one, share it with me. Mr. Hicks, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Oh wow, sort of comical. I don't know. Sometimes I would get inside my head and I'd be messing with my own head. But I was thinking, it was blessed to watch. You know, in my family, you know, like my uncle was 100, my mother was 90 something, my grandfather was in his hundreds, and both my grandmothers. But it's sort of like a tradition. I never remember anybody going to a nursing home. They always, but then again, they had 12 kids. My father, he was one of 12. My mother was one of 12, and they all had children. The families, you know, I was looking at the thing that Ryan said. It said this is not by accident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they broke down the extended family, when we were rural and we needed more people just to farm, and you had that close family, and families live up and down the road. They live right down, you know, they grew up in the same kind of, even here in Addison, when I see this part of the family, it's still that way. But when we start going north for the better jobs and better world and stuff like that, and the nucleus family, just the mother, the family just became, it wasn't even cousins. The family was considered to be your father, your mother, and your brother, your siblings. That was the family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because mainly the aunts and uncles and stuff was always still down south, and as they drifted up, but it was never that kind of closer that you had when it was in the country and it was rural.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about the comical kind of thing. I say, wow, I said, man, I'll be 74 in May, right? I said, woo, I made it. I never would have thought this, right? I mean, because I remember when I was young, I always saw myself going out in a blaze of fire with 2 guns in my hand, fighting, taking down the revolutionary. And here I am, and I got to 74. But I'm blessed. I got 7 children. Out of them 7 children, I'm sure I got 1 of them, right? But I ain't gonna bet on that. While I still got some energy about myself, I'm gonna get out of here and find me a younger woman. I'm gonna grab me. I'm looking out for the future, right? I'm gonna find me. At my last marriage, I think I went too old. I didn't go young enough.
Lord,
man, it's not good for man to be alone. You know that, now, right?
Yeah. I seen that written somewhere. Look, I'm gonna go out there and find me a little testimony. Woo! I'm gonna get her. We're gonna go in this order right here. We're gonna go on Donald, Navy, Ryan, and Willa. 2 songs. What's on your heart?
Yeah, man. You know what I thought about when y'all was talking? Sooner or later, these people that talk about, well, we can't do it because this, that, blah, 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 blah. You ain't gonna have that problem one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Reality.
That issue.
Reality.
That issue is gonna no longer exist because those parents that you feel like is a burden, they're gonna be gone.
Yep.
You know. You think about, well, they got no. They do stuff. They just get on my nerve. Sooner or later, you ain't gonna have that problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You keep, like they used to say, you keep saying good morning. Well, you keep saying good morning.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say good morning one day, they ain't gonna be there to listen or hear you. So I think about that because my parents are gone, and I used to. They stay in Mississippi, they stay in Louisiana. I would call them, and they always had the same answer. We doing all right. And if it was 8 o'clock at night, and they'd say that to me, I'd get in my car, and I'd drive over there to go see.
Yeah.
So what?
Oh,
it's a 3-hour drive. Who cares? Because now I don't take that 3-hour drive no more.
Yeah.
Why would I? They're not there. So I remember how, the last 12 kids, they didn't have a problem taking care of me.
Mm-hmm.
You think they had steak every day? No. But that chicken sure had a lot of pieces to it that I appreciated.
Exactly.
So when they took care of me, it was their turn. And when they got their turn, we took care of them. That's why we didn't cry and gripe and try to get in the grave with them, because we did what we were supposed to when they did. You know, we got one auntie, and I'm shut up, that's left out of all the aunties and uncles we had. And we now, the ones that are nephews, at least my family, we'll rent a van and we'll get in that van all together and we'll drive from here to Houston or wherever, or Chicago or wherever they are, and just go spend the night over there, go see them and come on back home.
Mm-hmm.
Because one day, you know what? We ain't gonna have that problem no more.
Exactly. Yep. And that's what it is, man. And when you look back, you don't want to look back with regrets. You don't want to look back at that thing with regrets, man. I wish I would have spent more time. I wish I would have taken more time to do it. I wish I would have. You know, you can't go back and undo what you did not do, if that makes sense. Let me go to Navy. What's on your heart, sis?
Nothing much. I'm just kind of like enjoying the conversation and, you know, pretty much agree with what everyone has said thus far because, you know, I was raised by my mom's mom, by my maternal grandmother, until she passed away whenever I was 11. I have no living grandparents now. And, you know, my mom is in a position to where she wants to be a grandparent. I feel like that's important. When it comes to taking care of our parents and our elderly, anybody that know me know that Tammy Janice, I will go to war for her and not even blink twice about wearing an orange jumpsuit. Everybody that know me know I don't play about my mom because she's in the position now to where she's the matriarch of our family here in Mississippi. And I think that sometimes we don't understand what that means and the reverence that comes along with it. And not just because she's my mother, but because of the position that she now plays in our family. She's the one that we come to now for home remedies and prayers and, well, what do we do about this? And, well, what's the plan for that? That's now her role and her position. So, you know, I'm just enjoying the conversation for the most part, because there are moments to where I do feel like that I was robbed of knowing some of my grandparents. I didn't know my dad's dad until I was 16 years old, and he died 6 years later. So I felt robbed at that time that I didn't get with him. I don't get to know those nuggets of wisdom. I mean, I capitalized off of it as much as I could for those 6 years that I had with him. But because of the hurt my father suffered, I suffered on the back end of that as well, and did not even know that this man even exists until I was 16.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. We're just about to go to Ryan, but I see we just lost Ryan. Hopefully hopefully he'll come back in. What up?
Raheem,
Talk to me, sis. What's on your heart?
you know, Raheem, I was just thinking about something that you said. You know, we should not only just look at our elderly, you know, people that we're blood kin to, but those who don't have anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like on my block where I live, it's a couple of elderly people around here. And, you know, I don't try to get in people's business, but I noticed that, you know, they don't have anybody, or, you know, so what my husband does sometimes is, like, even during the springtime and stuff like that, especially when he was able, he would go out, he would cut their grass, see if they need anything, do a wellness check, you know. So we just don't put it in a box. Well, when we see elderly, whether they are kin to us or not, you know, we want to at least make their lasting years, because I think Tucson said it, that, you know, one day they won't be here.
Yeah.
And don't have regrets. Because, you know, those regrets, man, those regrets would be just like cancer. You always wish what you should have done. That should have and that if, those are two words that are just like cancer. You know, you can't change nothing that you didn't change at the time when it happened. And a lot of people, they live off of that. So do what you can, what's in your heart, whatever in your heart. Go to the senior homes. If you could take one day a month to go to the senior homes and shine light on the elderly, because they building 2 elderly homes around in my area. So, senior homes, I want to call them.
Yeah.
Where all seniors get together, they have a place to go, bingo and stuff, but they're high. They looking to take their pensions and their Social Security checks. That's how you get in those homes. But a lot of seniors nowadays want to go because, it extends their life. But yeah, that's what's on my heart right here.
Good deal. Good deal. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, man, I like where this went, man, especially when she went there. We sort of hit on that earlier. It goes beyond the ones in your family, you know what I'm saying? But, the thing is it's happening within family. That's really the sad thing that's going on, is that that some of these people that are being overlooked and neglected, they do have family members. And so, man, I mean, it takes that brother's keeper mindset to kick in, instead of asking, well, where's the children? Where? I know they got a son or a daughter somewhere, a grandchild. They ain't got nobody. You hear people say that all the time, man. That old man ain't got nobody. Don't nobody go check. You check on them then.
Yeah.
They may be a little ornery, but at the same time, how much harm can they cause you if you mean them in the good? If you're looking at it for that main reason that you don't want to have that regret. I mean, not only can you have regret about not checking on your family members as elderly, but I felt bad about that man in these apartments being dead in his apartment over a week, because I kept recognizing that nobody has gone in that door and his car hasn't moved.
Wow.
And every day I walked by that car, I kept looking out like, man, I hope this ain't what I think it is. I hope he's out of town. Ain't that something I wanted to assume the best?
Yeah.
Even though everything added up to looking like it was the worst. I wish I would have been more of a brother's keeper. Now, don't get me wrong. I probably wouldn't have been able to save his life. I mean, I think he had already passed away, but he wouldn't have had to be in now for over a week like that. So, I mean, man, it really takes us to have this we mindset. We have to really appreciate existence. Because for some reason, most people don't appreciate existence until it's gone. Like Donald said, they're a problem. You say people are a problem when they're here, but when they're gone, oh man, it ain't a problem no more. The problem is that they don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
So you got to appreciate that existence. A lot of people look back at the recession as a bad time. And it was a rough time. It was a rough time for me. It was so rough that I had to move from Florida back to Alabama. I had to come back home. But had I not come back home, man, I wouldn't have been able to spend the last 2 years of my grandmother's life with her.
Yes. Wow.
So it was so much of a blessing, because before that recession hit, I was already battling back and forth about getting home, because I knew she was getting up in age. And I was like, Rico, you love that woman too much to not give her get some more quality time with her. You can't have her forever. Now, you might leave here before her, but she's in her 80s. You might need to get on back to Alabama. And just so happened that the way the universe worked, I had to go back to Alabama. And so, in losing and going through all the loss that I did during the recession, I gained 2 years of time with her that I wouldn't have gained had the recession not happened. I would have never made it back to Alabama before she passed away.
Wow.
So I don't have any regrets. I got to come back and be with her.
That's good. That's good. And I know how much she meant to you, brother. So, yeah, that's good. That's good. Toya with a T, talk to me, sis.
No, that's real talk. The universe has a way of making sure that everything go the way it need to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes we look at it as tragic, and I don't think we understand how powerful beings we are. But sometimes that energy causes things to happen where you got to be right there. Sometimes just to fix things that you didn't know you were there to fix. You know what I mean? The devil got a tendency to keeping you distracted, but when it comes to family, you're never a distraction. You know what I mean? That's kind of the point and the purpose. we have to make each other remember that we're more important than anything else in the world. And I think we lose sight of that. And I think when, adults, they got this saying, they said, once a man, twice a child. And they say that because oftentimes the same way you are in Pampers at 1 is the same way you go right back in Pampers, possibly at 90. And you get just like a child. And the same care that it took to take care of a child, you may have to spend that same care on your elderly parent. And sometimes we got to know when to, and I've learned this, especially through COVID. Sometimes you got to know when to put family first. And that's what COVID taught me. The whole death scare, dealing with God, that's what he taught me. Stop putting somebody's work or somebody's dream ahead of your family.
Yep.
That job's still going to be there. You going to get another job. I had plenty of jobs. And now I'm at a point to where, and that was a issue too, right? Because the elderly was like, oh, work. Oh, you don't miss no days. Oh, you don't miss no days. Oh, yeah, as soon as you went in the hospital, I missed a whole heap of damn days.
Yeah.
Sure did. Excuse me. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am going to go up there and see my mama. And then when I knew she was going to be in there a while, okay, well, I can't miss more. So I was going to work, I was going to school, and I was going to see my mama, and I was going home. Making a long journey, because that's still my mama. And then you have people who be like, oh, well, when my mama died, I stayed at work. Well, that's you.
Yeah.
That's probably why your mama died. Because you didn't feel like, I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm just talking about how I felt. Because if your mama felt like you ain't care and you ain't love her, everything else important, I probably would have shriveled up and died too. I love my mama. And I'm not finna be up here at work, and I need to be somewhere praying for her, letting her know my energy right there with her, crying over there with her. Nah, mama, don't leave me, don't you die. I'm not finna be at there going work, acting like ain't nothing going on here. My mama somewhere dying. Is you stupid?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So oftentimes too, this work. Listen, I seen it with the stroked out dude driving, going every day, praying, saying, Lord, no, it ain't that serious. I don't hate him that much, Lord. Did I kill him, Lord? No, I ain't. Well, if I ain't kill him, Lord, he can't go nowhere. So let me get over here and pray for this dude, because I know what life is, what love can do, what power it has to make people live again, to resurrect people from situations and scenarios and bring them back to life. So I have to learn, do not get distracted and thrown off by so-called work and things of that nature, because your love for that person, when you reel that back in, you're taking care of that person. When you reel that back in, that's how they get those extra years. So we cannot afford to push our loved ones, old or young, to the side and make it seem like everything else is more important, because it could mean saving their life.
Absolutely. Leonard?
Definitely, if you don't see it happen, be that person that make it happen. Get other people just like you, depending on the need around you. If you are a member of churches and things of that, you should have some type of auxiliary or something in your church that does this as well. It's one thing to say what everybody else is not doing, but you're everybody else.
Absolutely. Mr. Hicks? Mr. Hicks, you there? Wake up and go to sleep. Well,
yeah, Ryan. This everybody's giving such wise advice, and y'all ain't gonna send me there. I'm not going in that area. I ain't gonna break a tear. Y'all can stop right now, because I tell y'all, everything you saying is hitting hard.
Yeah,
it's hitting hard because maybe God is saying this is what we need to do even more. Look at our elderly and take care of them more. They made the coffee, and now we should be a part of that sit down and enjoying it. So I just thank God for your show, Raheem. This is an awesome message today, and that's what's on my heart.
Good deal. Rico, what's going on today, sir, at 3:00?
Man, first let me say, man, ain't nothing more important. If all of this technology shut down, if every car stopped working, and if every piece of electricity shut down, we still would have life.
Mm-hmm.
We still would have what the Creator created. We would have this existence, and ain't nothing more important than him than that. Ain't nothing more than the Creator could love than the existence that he gave us. I believe. Out of all of this technology that we designed and that we created, that we manufactured, God don't love that more than he loved the fact that we respect and appreciate this existence, because there ain't nothing better that he could have created.
Exactly.
If you know something better, tell me about it. I don't know nothing better than this existence. And the minute we start realizing how important it is, then older people and children will become more important, because not only were we children, but one day we're gonna be these elderly.
Absolutely.
Some of us are already there. So it's about time for humanity to not only start being upstanding, but to start being outstanding. With that being said, if you missed today's show and would like to hear or see the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
In its entirety, absolutely. Willow!
Raheem, come on, let's go.
Well,
Let's go, Raheem.
You say let's go. Are you ready?
Raheem.
Yes.
I am so ready to receive God's word this morning. Let's go, Raheem. Let's go.
Well, Willow, I ain't got one more thing to say. One more thing I got to say. Let's go.
Amen. Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to get up today and be in your presence, Lord. Father, we thank you for your mercy, and we thank you for your grace, even though we don't deserve it sometimes, Lord. But Father, we thank you that you love us unconditional. Father, we thank you that you give us a word that heals us, Lord, and that brings understanding. Father, we thank you so much for the wisdom that you give us to guide us, Lord. Father, thank you for all the things that you've done, Lord. Father, I'm asking you, Lord, to touch those that don't know you, Lord, for the pardon of their sins, Lord. Father, help them in a mighty way, Lord. I'm praying today, oh Lord, that you give them the mindset to open up their hearts, to tear back that stubbornness, Lord, to tear back that pride, Lord, and let them know that it was you and only you, Lord. Father, we know that we can't do anything without you, but with you, all things are possible. Yes, Father, we thank you that you tell us in your word that when we go through to cast our cares upon you, because you care for us. Father, we thank and honor you this morning, and we glorify you. Thank you for allowing your Son to redeem us and reconcile us, where we'll be able to talk back to you, oh Lord. Father, we thank you. And I'm asking you, oh Lord, to continually guide us, Lord. I'm asking you, Lord, to touch each and every last one that's on this line, Lord. Father, whatever it is that they're going through, Lord. Father, whatever it is that they're praying for, Lord. Father, I'm asking you to answer their prayers, Lord. Father, let them know that it's you and only you. I thank you for DKM Media Radio being successful because of you, Lord. Thank you for Raheem and his family, Lord. Touch them in a mighty way. Thank you, Lord, for keeping them, protecting them, guiding, Lord. Father, I thank you. I give you the honor, the glory, and the praise. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, and amen. Thank you, Lord.
Yes, Lord. Amen. It's been a great broadcast, y'all. It's been a great broadcast. I love the topic that we had today, man. And we definitely, all of us need to do a little more. Reach a little further. Go just a little bit deeper to help our elderly, man. They deserve it, and they need us. They need us. They really do. They really do. It's been a great broadcast, man. It's our 10:06. You're about to exit the morning. I want to thank everybody for joining us. More than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates. Go ahead, Rico.
You're doing real
Yes,
men
sir.
tonight?
Yes, sir. 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you join us right here. Same bat place, same bat channel for real men being men. Four Square Conversation. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. And how they say it, a good one. I want to thank everybody for joining us in the morning. I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:06. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. And please, please, please be blessed. Talk to you this evening, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here for Real Men Being Men. Stay locked in, spread the word, love you, give somebody some love and truth. They will appreciate it, and I'm sure that you will too. Have a great day. Love you.